What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back to Source 8, back with another video. Um, Today's topic is gonna be about isolation. 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 I feel it's a it's something that, first of all, it can be used in right ways and it can be used in wrong ways. See, isolation is when you separate yourself from others, separate yourself from the world. Essentially, you put yourself in a box. You take time for yourself, and sometimes it's out of good things, sometimes it's out of bad things. Me, I'm not too big on astrology, but I do find there are traits from star signs that are very similar within the nature of how people are. And one thing I've noticed about my sign is the description for what astrology says a lot about my sign does match a lot of traits that I have. So me, I'm a Virgo, and the Virgo is basically, it is one with the Hermit card in tarot. Hermit meaning hermit crab. Hermit crab meaning the crab that lives inside of a shell. It basically spends its life in a shell, mostly. It can come out when it's ready to move into a new shell, but overall it's living in a shell mostly. And me, I'm an adventurous person, don't get me wrong. I do like to go out, have fun, and it ain't like I like to go out like clubbing and stuff like that. I like to just do adventurous things. Like, I'm the type of person, I go on a hike, I walk through the park, nature walks, just anything that has something to do with like activity, pretty much being active. You know, I'll play some sports, I'll skate, you know, go to the river, pond, whatever, you know, outdoor activities. I'm an outdoors kind of guy. But I have noticed that the majority of my life, I got into my hermit mode. Hermit mode being the crab in the shell. Sometimes it's like you just want to stay in your room. You just want to box yourself off from the world. You don't really want to be bothered with anybody. And I noticed that attributes a lot to my sign and how I am, because a lot of times, like I've explained in my videos, I get in my head about life, and I'll get to the point to where I'm just tired of, just want to get away from people, just want people to be away from me. And it gets to a point where you get comfortable with that, and that's a form of isolation. Isolation meaning you're boxing out everybody else but yourself. And these moments aren't necessarily a bad thing. They are what you make them to be. When you are in that season of isolation, which is only a season, isolation is only a season. It's only a certain time of your life where you're going to be isolated. It's not going to be forever. No human being can really live forever without interaction with another human being. I mean, unless you're gonna have some type of mental issues or something like that. Like, we are social creatures and we need interaction with our kind. So we seek that out. That's why when you're alone for a long time, you get depression and things like that. But at the same time, you have to have seasons of isolation so you can learn to live with yourself and to have times of being alone, to have times of solitude. The isolation is needed to better yourself sometimes. Sometimes you got to step away from the crowd to improve your life and to, you know, focus on the things that you truly need to focus on. The season of isolation can make you or break you, because on the alternative side, on the flip side, it can be used to cope from depression. It can be used to run away from problems. It can be used to hide from enemies, hide from life, hide from everything. It's like a defensive mechanism sometimes for a lot of people, because they feel that if they isolate themselves, they will be able to confide in the isolation, and they will be able to just push the problems off for a minute. They know the problem's not gonna go away, just like a drug. The drug not gonna make the problems go away. They know they still gonna be there, but it's that moment of, let me just put this off and put the world out for a while, because everybody judging me and I just want to be alone and unjudged. But in this world, everybody gonna have something to say about you at all times. There's nothing you can really do about that. So the best thing that you can do is, when you do get in these moments of isolation, don't do it out of depression or loneliness or out of emotions that aren't for your best development. Don't isolate yourself for these reasons. When you isolate yourself to be better, to do something with yourself, to be creative. Isolate yourself to help yourself become the greatest version of yourself. Don't isolate yourself because of criticism of others or what anybody has to say or anything somebody's done to you or anything. Like, isolate yourself because you need space, because you need to meditate, because you need time to think without other voices in your head. Isolate yourself because you want to improve on something that you need to concentrate on. If you're going to isolate yourself and do nothing, you might as well force yourself to be uncomfortable. Because if it's comfortable to isolate yourself, that means you need to do the opposite. But if it's uncomfortable to isolate yourself, it might mean you need some isolation. And it depends on if your life going in the direction that you want it to go in. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people and your life not going in the right direction, you might need to isolate yourself. If you by yourself and you isolated and your life not going in the right direction, you might need to surround yourself with some more people. So, like I said from the beginning, isolation can be a good or a bad thing, but at the end of the day, everything is what you make it, and anything can be used to help you or it can be used against you. So when you in these isolation seasons, when you find yourself not having as many people around, don't get depressed. Don't get into a sad emotional state. Understand that these times are needed and you should take advantage of it. And you should take advantage to be better and improve yourself so much that when you are back into a social pool of people, they're not even going to recognize you, or you're going to be shining so bright that people just going to gravitate towards you. You've been storing your energy, bettering yourself, improving in yourself in any aspect that you can. You've been hitting the gym, you've been just, doing yourself the best that you can. In your season of isolation, I guarantee you, when it's time to pop back out, you're gonna shine. You're gonna attract all those people that you've been looking for. They're gonna find you. All the opportunities you've been looking for is gonna find you. But that's if you use that season of isolation in the right way. If you sit around and eat ice cream and cakes all day and, just lay up in the bed, don't get up and brush your teeth, don't pay attention to your life, let everything just fall apart. Yeah, that moment of isolation was bad for you. You hurt yourself with that one. So everything is about taking advantage of the time that you have and the moment that you have when you're in that moment. Even if you can't do anything else, even if you're injured, you can meditate. You can always rise your consciousness in some type of way. You can fast. You can read. That's what a lot of people don't do these days. Read. Isolation. These are the type of things that people do when they are incarcerated. A lot of them are in cells by themselves for multiple hours of years of their life. So they have to stimulate their mind with other things besides what we can do out here. A lot of them have to read. A lot of them have to constantly work out. A lot of them have to constantly meditate. A lot of them have to find something that they can enjoy their isolation and solitude with. So we out here in the free world, we got way more openness, way more things that we can do, way more options. Take a walk, go to the park, many things you can do with your isolation. And one thing we gotta always remember, if you believe in the Most High, if you believe that there is a higher source out here, and you believe that you come from that source, you are never alone, because that source created you, and you are a part of it. And if you believe it created everything, everything is a part of it. So everything around you, plus your spirit, plus your higher self, you're never alone. Never alone. We don't know what's around us energetically. Angels, ancestors, the Most High. We never alone. So even when you isolated, remember, you are not alone. We are not alone. So that's my video for today. It's your boy Back to Source 8. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. I'll be back with another one in just a minute. Peace.